This is BoomerLife on CL 650.
White is the color, soccer is the game. We're all together, and winning is our aim. So cheer us.
Oh my, this is BoomerLife on CL 650. Head cheerleader here, Joanne Sutton, in the studio with me today. We welcome CEO of the Alzheimer's Society of BC, Maria Howard, has joined us, along with our special guest, Alec Burden, who has shared his story on living with MCI, which is a form of dementia. And our next guest is Bob Lenarduzzi. Now, Bob has been a key member in Canadian soccer for nearly 4 decades. Thus, the cheerleading song off the top. Both a former player and now club president of the Vancouver Whitecaps FC, Lenarduzzi's renowned for his success on the pitch and his contributions to the community. Bob joins us on the phone today because he's a busy guy. Aren't you, Bob?
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. Well, it's great to have you join us on the show, regardless in person or on the phone, especially a legend like yourself who's built a connection with the Alzheimer's Society of British Columbia. So we know that you are no stranger to Alzheimer's and dementia either. We had your daughter Sunny on the show a couple of times last year, and she shared the family's connection to the disease. And maybe you could refresh our memories, please.
Sure. Probably about 15 years ago, my wife's dad, Denny Veach, who was the general manager when I actually first signed with the Whitecaps 42 years ago. So I had a business connection with Denny at that time, and then ended up marrying his daughter, which one of the things that he had suggested way back then was that the players should not, and my wife and her sister were actually hostesses with the team at that time, and we were told in no uncertain terms to stay away from the hostesses. But
off limits.
Not only did we not stay away, I married one, and one of my teammates married the other daughter. So I used to constantly rib my father-in-law about that. But unfortunately for him, he started to suffer the symptoms of dementia, and so we went through that journey with him, and it probably lasted around 7-8 years of that, and we went through all the different stages. And when I used to hear about dementia, Alzheimer's, it was something that I obviously realized was impactful on families, but when you actually go through it yourself, and going through it with Denny, you realize how impactful it is, and how frustrating it is for the individual that's going through it, but probably more of an impact on the family around, because you just really, there's no way that you can help the individual. And not long after Denny passed away, I started to notice similar symptoms in my mom. And I actually said to my brothers at that time, I said, have you noticed that Mom is actually becoming repetitive? And they said, no, it's just she's getting older and a little forgetful. And sure enough, the symptoms started with her as well, and then clearly then she was diagnosed with dementia, and we went through about a 4-year journey with her on that. And interesting, though, that they were very different in their the way that they acted and behaved. And Denny was always a gentleman, even when he was in the latter stages of the Alzheimer's. He was always very gracious and polite. And my mom, who all of her life was a very caring and personable woman, she turned into someone that we hadn't really ever seen that side of before, and she just was. It was hard to be around her, which is difficult for me to say, given that I'm her son. But I think it's just an example of how it can impact people in different ways.
Yes, and I think Maria's made that point many times, Maria, about it affects everybody differently, doesn't it?
It does, because everybody comes with their own personal relationship and experience, and we all see things through a different way. And so I think Bob makes a great point in that, a person with Alzheimer's and their experience is vastly different from the next person beside them.
Mm-hmm. So there's no one single path that anybody can follow. Bob, you raised a lot of really good points as well, but maybe you could refresh our memory of through the journey with your father-in-law and both with your mom. How did you ever make contact with the Alzheimer's Society?
Well, interestingly enough, I don't think it was until after my mom passed away that there was an article in the Vancouver Sun. It was a full-page spread on my mom and on the dementia and Alzheimer's that my wife and I had gone through with her dad and then my mom. And I think it was probably after that it became a little more common knowledge that I had gone through this and was contacted by the Alzheimer's Society and have done some things along the way. I spoke at their breakfast a couple of years ago and I've tried to do as much as I can, took part in the Scotiabank Half Marathon and 5K fundraiser. So there's different things that I've done along the way, and I'm always happy to participate because I have a full knowledge of what it is that people go through, and so if I can give back in any way, then I'm happy to do that.
And we're happy that you do that as well. So you mentioned the Scotiabank Half Marathon and 5K fundraiser, and your daughter Sunny was doing some fundraising for that as well. And now we talk about a family that really gets involved. You're here today to also share your story about your role with the Mount Kilimanjaro Grouse Grind Climb for Alzheimer's. Tell us about this event and why it's important to you.
Well, unless Maria has changed the plans, I believe that I'm going to be the MC on September the 25th at the base of Grouse Mountain to kick off the climb. Is that right, Maria?
Yeah, absolutely. No change.
Yeah, you're it. You are the host.
I will pick you up if I need to.
All right. No, I can actually walk over from my house. It's too far.
Well, that's super. Well, we're glad. So why this event?
Well, and it's been going on for a number of years, and I was at one of the events as a guest, I think about 4 years ago, and it's just a great event because it raises awareness of Alzheimer's, and I think the more that we can do to shed a light on it and to perhaps educate people that. And I'm a great example of it, as is my wife. We knew about Alzheimer's, but it happened to other families. And then all of a sudden it happened in our family, and not once but twice. And I do believe that if there had been more of an effort on my part, and if I had been more exposed to the disease, then I might have taken more time to understand it a little bit better. So I think, again, just creating that awareness that might perhaps jolt people into finding out more about the disease and perhaps deciding that they want to help fund the fundraising as well. All of those things are good in terms of Alzheimer's itself.
So this event has been going on for a couple of years, the MKGG. Is there anything new about this year's event?
Well, that's I having not been there for a few years, I'm not entirely certain. I know that my role is to run the proceedings, and I'm assuming that Maria would have more of information in terms of that side of it goes.
She's going to fill that blank in right now.
Well, there is actually a change this year. I think one of the things that we talk about, we've talked about throughout the show today, is that everybody's journey with Alzheimer's is unique to them, and so we have changed up the grouse grind event a little bit. So there still will be the grouse grind, and we'll be encouraging people to register in teams and climb the grind. But we're also going to have on top of the mountain what we call the summit stroll. And that is recognizing people who may not be able to do the grind for a number of reasons, but they still want to participate in the event and raise awareness and raise funds, which we greatly appreciate. And so people will be able to take the gondola to the top of the mountain and then enjoy the summit stroll. And again, that is recognizing that everybody goes through the Alzheimer experience in a unique way, and we need to support everybody because everybody comes with their own challenges and not. And I just like to add, and I appreciate your comments, Bob, about speaking up and sharing your experience, because I think you hit it right on the nail. When there are lots of people most people know about Alzheimer's, but most people don't know that there are a lot of things about Alzheimer's that through education and support can be done maybe in a different way. And I think Alex shared today already a useful tip about how you find your car keys. And that's what the Society wants to do, ensure that people who are going through this have the support they need all along the way, so that when they have to figure out what to do next, they're not just wondering, but they have, first of all, the confidence to start a conversation, to ask for help, and then they actually receive the support that they really need. It's a tough journey.
Mm-hmm. And I think when we were speaking with Alec as well earlier in today's show, that when you received your diagnosis, you're an educated guy, you're well-rounded, you probably thought you knew what it was, but you said you didn't have a clue.
I had no idea at all.
Yeah. See, you don't understand the big picture, and I'm really glad, Bob, that you've helped us with that as well. So back to the Mount Kilimanjaro Grouse Grind event, September 25th. If you want to register, find out more information about it, go online, hikemkgg.com. You can register today. Bob, you're not actually climbing, are you?
I had a hip replacement a few years back, so it's not advisable that I do that. And I actually have to have my other hip replaced soon, so
you're out.
Yeah.
We can take the gondola together.
Yeah, exactly.
Any other soccer players from past or present? You should be able to get some of the team involved, or some of the administrative staff.
I think we have a home game the day before that one, so we'll put the word out. But as of right now, it's yours truly, and we'll see what we can do in terms of rallying other support.
We will see you at the base of the Grouse Grind on the 25th for the MKGG. That's correct.
Yes. 8 a.m.
8 a.m.
Nice and early. Yeah.
Oh, Bob Leonarduzzi, host of the Alzheimer's Society of BC's Mount Kilimanjaro Grouse Grind event. There's still time to get in. The event runs on the 25th, but thank you for sharing your story with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. For more information about this and any of the support services or programs with the Alzheimer's Society, please call them, or you can visit them online. Their website, AlzhiemerBC.org. I just want to say a very special thanks to all of our guests today. CEO of the Alzheimer's Society, Maria Howard, Alec Burden, thank you for joining us live in studio and sharing your personal journey.
Anytime.
Bev Stanwood on the phone about caregiving for her mother, who is diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, and also Bob Leonarduzzi for keeping the conversation going and doing his part with the community. And thanks to you as well for joining us on Boomer Life on CL 650. I'm Joanne Sutton. Don't forget about World Alzheimer's Day, September 21. Thanks for listening.